Mr. Caputo is going to lead us off. Go ahead, Mr. Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, for being here, and thank you for your opening statement. What I took from that is that we're dealing with obviously a massive data privacy breach here. That's what really brings us to Parliament today. Is it fair to say that it's your position that this was not on H&R Block and this was solely on CRA?
As I mentioned, thank you for the question. As I mentioned in my statement and in earlier submissions to the committee, H&R Block Canada, when we were notified by CRA that there was a compromise of our e-file credentials, we immediately launched a comprehensive investigation, and we left no stone unturned. And throughout the course of that investigation and upon its conclusion, there was no evidence to suggest that H&R Block Canada's systems, software, or security apparatuses had been compromised in any way. As to where this compromise may have taken place, H&R Block Canada can't say for sure, other than we know it was not within our organization.
Thank you. Now, are you familiar with how things are done in the United States as in Canada, as I understand it? It's essentially between H&R Block and CRA. There isn't a lot of information sharing when it comes to cyber issues, but the United States does it a little bit differently. Are you familiar with all of that? Just
only at a cursory level, just here in my capacity today representing H&R Block Canada and our operations here in Canada. But I am familiar with some high-level aspects of collaboration between IRS and the tax preparation industry in the United States, such as the Security Summit, which is an annual gathering of both industry and IRS to share best practices about cybersecurity, talk about potential threats to the extent that that's possible and appropriate.
Now, you spoke about collaboration. Is it your view that that sort of collaboration that you just described, does that happen in Canada?
It doesn't currently happen in Canada, and it is something that our company and industry has recommended to CRA in the past, and we continue to recommend that to the extent possible, we would like to see more collaboration between the agency and the industry to combat fraud and any other type of cybersecurity threats.
Do you know how long you've been recommending greater collaboration with CRA to address these increasing cyber threats?
It's come up in industry conversations with CRA off and on over the last, I would say, approximately 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Can I ask, what has CRA's response been?
They have always expressed receptiveness to the idea. I think one of the challenges that CRA has communicated to us with that concept is how can something like that be put together and still respect Canadian data privacy legislation. And so that our understanding is CRA is looking into that, and hopefully once we have a clearer picture of what may be possible, we can potentially explore moving that forward.
On behalf of H&R Block, do you see that as an impediment?
Do I see what as an impediment?
Just what you just described, the protection of privacy as an impediment to greater collaboration. If that's CRA's issue, what I'm saying is, do you agree with them in that regard?
Well, I would say that to the extent that it's preventing CRA from being able to collaborate where appropriate with industry and with our organization, then yes, it would be an impediment.
Okay. Now, in terms of the data breach, the information sharing, and the cyber threats that bring us here today, do you feel that there was any area in which CRA did not act as quickly as it could?
I'm not in a position to answer that, just given that we did not have line of sight into CRA's investigation and most of their mitigating measures that they may have employed. So I'm not able to answer that with any accuracy.
Do you feel that their communication with H&R Block was done in a timely manner?
Yes, in terms of notifying us when this incident may have began, yes, that communication, I believe, did happen in an expedient manner.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Chair, how much time do I have left?
A minute and a half, Mr.
Okay.
Caputo.
So I want to get into that a little bit more. When is your understanding of when the breaches came to light, and when was H&R Block notified?
So we were notified in April of this year. I'm not able to disclose the exact date just for security purposes, but We were notified in April of this year, and immediately upon being notified, we launched our investigation into our systems, software, and security apparatuses.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, did any of your clients have any losses as a result of this?
We are not aware of any impact to our clients as a result of this incident.
Okay. And do you know exactly how many clients were impacted by this?
We do not know how many Canadians may have been impacted by this, no.
Okay. Do you have an estimate even?
No, nothing that is based on anything factual, so.
Okay. Have you made safety recommendations to CRA based on what happened on your end?
Yes, we did provide a series of recommendations to CRA in August of this year. And our understanding is that CRA is continuing to review them, and we're looking forward to engaging with them as soon as we possibly can.
Okay. Has CRA given you an update as to whether or not they will be accepting them, where the progress is? I mean, my concern is this. We're now in December. These are made in August. We don't want to be in a situation where we're here again. So I'm just wondering
Mr. Caputo,
Okay.
I'm sorry,
sorry.
time's
Yeah,
up.
no, that's
Time's
fine.
Chambers.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Davis, thank you for coming. I apologize for missing your earlier round. Someone has played a funny trick on me this holiday season, and they sent the Minister of CRA at the same time to the Finance Committee, so that's where I was for the first few minutes. I just want to bring me back to the issue at hand here. Does H&R Block Canada have obligations under the Privacy Act, the Federal Privacy Commissioner and the Federal Privacy Act?
Yes, with respect to the issue the committee.
Just in general?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And so under that act, if there is a data breach, since H&R Block would be kind of governed under the provisions of that act, or subject to the provisions of that act, if there was a data breach, H&R Block would be required to, if it was known to them, report on that data breach to the Privacy Commissioner. There's a reporting regime.
That is correct, yes.
That's right. And to my knowledge, there has not been a report from H&R Block to the Privacy Commissioner with respect to any breaches, including the ones that were in the news recently. Is that correct?
Yes. Given that our investigation, once we were informed by CRA of the incident involving our e-file credentials, after we commenced our investigation immediately after learning about it, we went through a comprehensive investigative process, and its conclusion pointed to no evidence of any breach of our systems or software or security apparatuses at H&R Block Canada. So as a result, there was no requirement or basis for us to report anything to the Privacy Commissioner.
Right. So I assume with your parent company, you obviously, not only do you invest a lot of resources in terms of treasure into cyber security and privacy breaches, but that you would share information about potential schemes or frauds that are perpetrated on various tax authorities, say in Canada and the U.S. Like you're aware of some of the things that happen and how people's accounts do get hacked, correct?
Well, we are aware from what we see in the media sources that we monitor in a lot of cases. It's not typical for CRA to share that type of information with industry as of yet, and of course, there's also some information sharing between H&R Block and H&R Block Canada Inc. when it comes to cybersecurity.
And so, I mean, in an effect, privacy, and I think I'm getting from your testimony, people's personal information, their tax information, but more importantly, their private personal information. That is a core principle of what guides you as an organization, right? So I mean, you have a lot on the line in order to protect people's personal information, but their privacy in general.
Absolutely. We've been doing taxes in Canada for our clients for over 60 years, and so data protection and privacy of our clients' information is absolutely paramount to what we do.
I won't ask you to answer this because it would potentially be unfair, but it is your business to keep people's information private and secure, and there have been a number of other examples of outright frauds perpetrated on CRA with a number of examples of fraud happening on the taxpayer, fraudulent schemes, things that are not audited correctly at CRA. And so the absence of you reporting anything to the Privacy Commissioner tells me that this issue is likely not one that is emanating from within H&R Block, but it could be an outside source. Whether that's a third party or maybe even within CRA, I'm not sure. I won't ask you to comment because I think that might put you in a difficult position. But you know, when you have CRA that says, well, it's not us, but they have a list of kind of examples in the past of where they've had some challenges with fraud and protecting private information, you know, that makes sense to me. I think your testimony is genuine, and I hope to the extent that you find any information that you will bring it forward. And can you just follow up? You mentioned about CRA not collaborating as much with industry, but that does happen in the U.S., correct?
My understanding is there's mechanisms for collaboration between the IRS and the tax preparation industry in the United States, namely the Security Summit. We don't have a similar mechanism here in Canada, and that is something that I would submit would be beneficial for
Thank you for
CRA
that
to
testimony,
consider.
Mr. Davis, and congratulations on 60 years in business.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Chambers.